This episode of Heed the Call with Dan Hanzus and Marc Sessler is brought to you by BetterHelp. Heed the Call with Dan Hanzus and Marc Sessler is on Underdog, so why not start playing on Underdog today? It just makes sense. It's easy. You're not playing against experts who spend all their time researching. Net alert. It's just you against the projections. Simply choose higher or lower, and you could win up to 1,000 times your entry. Download and play on the Underdog app, sign up with the code HTC, that's us, and receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash for our U.S. audience only. And a reminder before we get going, Heed the Call now has its own YouTube channel, youtube.com/@HeedTheCallPod. While you're there, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. All right, on to the show.
The Heed the Call podcast believes hope is a good thing, maybe the best thing.
53 weeks and 1 day ago, I sat in this very spot and tried to reckon and process the most stunning gut punch of my life as a sports fan. Tonight, after a 24-3 win by the Jets, a game in which a fully healthy Aaron Rodgers played like the franchise star we had been promised, a game in which the Jets dominated a Patriots team that had tormented them for decades. It feels like the Jets have finally crept out of the darkness of the past 13 years with suddenly a wide open highway ahead. Yes, Marc Sessler, hope is a good thing, maybe even the best of things.
It's, for me as an assignment, well, number one, like, you're my friend.
Oh, and here's a Tito's, Mark, just to tie things together.
You deserve a Tito's. You deserve multiple, I would say, before the game, after the game, during the game,
53 weeks and 1 day ago, my wife handed me a Tito's as we recorded the Monday night recap after the Achilles was blown. This is a different kind of Tito's today.
Well,
so
that was medication. This is a balm.
This is celebration.
Yes, the celebration. And
take it away, Mark.
No, I was going to say, for me, the assignment is unusual because it's like if I were to come in to talk about, you've got two wonderful sons. Let's say your one son, Jack, played a soccer game, and I come in to provide analysis. I'm not going to get negative. But there is no reason to be negative tonight. How many times in the history of our lives as football fans have the New York Jets come in and out-yardage the Patriots 400-139? How often have they come in and by the middle of the first quarter, you knew that New York's quarterback had this thing in hand, that New York's coaching staff, beleaguered all a season ago nonstop, had this in hand, that their defense was going to turn the New England Patriots offense into a middle school outfit. So, Dan, I'd say tonight this is different. And you know what, listeners? You wanted we talk about the Browns and the Jets too much and the Titans. I don't give a shit. Fuck you. And I mean that. I really mean that this time. This is we've waited over. If you're a Jets fan, it wasn't the most exciting game that we've ever seen. Low drama is fine once in a while. This was confirmation that Aaron Rodgers can still play football, and the New York Jets, the way they're built right now, can beat up teams in their own division. And the Patriots, you're likely a little frisky start. Well, frisky's over. You've got issues, and the New York Jets just came to town.
I really, that is the story here. I think is first of all around great effort by the Jets. The defense without C.J. Mosley, who's the captain of that defense in the middle, he was out with the toe injury. Without Jermaine Johnson after the Achilles, they still were dominant. And Jeff Ulbrich, the defensive coordinator, did an excellent job. The Jets are not known for being a blitzing team, but they showed versatility. And they said, okay, this matchup against Jake Brisket, this is a quarterback we can get after, especially knowing that he does not have weapons around him that can create separation, and we could cook him up, and that's exactly what they did. The Patriots' offense was absolutely lifeless. And you mentioned the total yardage. That's even after Drake May came in and led them on like a 70-yard garbage time drive that fell short of the end zone, but at least put a little bit of lipstick on the pig. It was a dominating effort on the defensive side for the Jets. But the story here is Aaron Rodgers. And I think I tweeted this during the game, and people took it the wrong way because it wasn't meant to be taking a shot at Kirk Cousins, who I know is not as far along as Rodgers is in terms of the Achilles recovery, because I think Kirk tore his in late October or so, and Rodgers was early September. So they're on different timelines. However, you can't tell me that even with that difference in the 6 weeks or 7 weeks or whatever it is, that it was kind of stunning. And remember, Cousins is also 4 years younger. You see Cousins in his first 2 games, he's a statue in the pocket. Rodgers in the first 2 games, we didn't see him move around a lot. In this game, he moved around a ton and made plays on the move. He scrambled for first downs. He when the pocket was muddy, he was able to extend plays and find receivers. And Mark, the accuracy of the passing was remarkable. I mean, it almost to the point where the only quibble I would have as a Jets fan is that it's clear that the Rodgers-Garrett Wilson connection, despite the touchdown, isn't quite there yet, and they have things to work on. But everything you saw from Rodgers, like if you would have told me this was the 2020 version of Rodgers, I don't see a big difference tonight. So it's like if you get that version of Rodgers, the Jets have a real chance to make a run here. And everyone are going to say, listening to this, like, oh, you're way too fired up. The Patriots are not a good team. Forget all that, because there's been so many times through the years where the Jets have fallen on their face, especially in primetime, especially in spots like this when they were, quote unquote, supposed to win. And to see them handle an opponent and to see the quarterback play be so far in the column of the Jets, this is all uncharted territory in the history of the show that we've done together, Mark. And in general, over the 50-plus years post-Namath of the Jets, this was a strange sight. And I'm just curious, and I'm filled with excitement and anticipation whether this is the beginning of a really special season, potentially.
I think you have the right to feel that way. I mean, it has been almost 25 years where these box scores went in the other direction. And to see the complete team domination the way that it was tonight, we can work out the Garrett Wilson thing. Like, they've got time. Like, they really haven't had that many chances to even play games together. Like, that's going to figure itself out. Braylon Allen, Breece Hall, like the running game, to me, like, there's a lot of promise here. And the fact that this was just a complete team domination. And it's really less about the Patriots and more about the Jets tonight, because the Patriots tonight are kind of what I thought they would be this season. And this was a team, the Jets, that were dominated by the Niners out of the gate, and they're figuring themselves out. And what you got tonight was a quarterback who looked like what you paid for. I know a team that went out and paid a lot of money for a quarterback, and you've not gotten that quarterback. And so it kind of really matters to find out in a rather blasé performance by, like, in terms of like was it the kind of game that's going to get the nation excited? Like, who cares? Like, Aaron Rodgers went out, he ran really well. I thought he looked good, he looked spry, and like he was just deadly accurate. He looked deadly accurate, and he looked like the old version of Aaron Rodgers. That's the most important thing that you can take away from this game. Is like, this guy is who you wanted him to be. And here we go into the meat of our schedule, and the Jets looked really good tonight. Like, I just think this team has a chance because their strengths are all over the roster, and like, coaching's not getting in the way. You know, the offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett, did not get in the way. Well, and that's important too.
Not to turn this all the way around on one game, but like, I think it was Kirk Herbstreit who made the point that it's like, Hackett, all of a sudden, the play calling doesn't look so bad when it's Aaron Rodgers that
I don't
is
think he's special,
moving.
but he did not, like, you just don't notice him. You don't want to notice Nathaniel Hackett.
Right, exactly. and that's in part because it's Aaron Rodgers' offense. I thought the interesting thing in terms of social media that people will get fired up about, and I'm sure as we're speaking right now, Saleh is being asked about it, was, can you fly that up, Gravedigger? This was in the first half. Saleh goes to like put his arms around Rodgers, and Rodgers goes like, back off. And I think if you do the lip reading, it was something along the lines of, too soon. And I love that. You know why? Because, and I hope as we're recording this, Mark, Saleh's not up there on the podium spouting all sorts of nonsense about how great this team is now and how we're not afraid of anybody, because he's done that before. And that's one of the reasons why Saleh spooks me as a coach, is that he gets a little caught up in the moment and seems to sometimes like forget that he's got to be the kind of the CEO of the team, and he's not a cheerleader, and he's not a defensive coordinator anymore. So Rodgers, who is, and once upon a time at our old place, I might have, got myself in a little trouble about this for things that I said or maybe didn't say. Rodgers runs that team. And as Saleh is looking to celebrate with him in the second quarter of a game that is an 11-point game at that point, it's Rodgers that's telling his head coach, no, sir. Like, we are not celebrating anything. We haven't accomplished anything. And I have to remember that as well. And Jets fans have to remember that as well, that it's just week 3 and they're 2-1 and so much can happen. But again, there's a highway now in front of the Jets. And I think if the game itself, Mark, wasn't the most exciting game for Joe Q public as football fans, the fact that Rodgers has now, through this game, shown you that he can still ball, it makes the AFC more interesting, and it takes them out of the category of, in theory, a team that could be dangerous to absolutely this team with this defense and Rodgers with the weapons he has can absolutely be a player in the AFC. And tonight, I think, was the first real proof that we saw.
Yeah, because you've got 2 teams in the AFC North that are 0-2 right now trying to dig out of a hole. And the Jets were a question mark coming into this game. It's not the opponent tonight. We get that. Like, they handled them. I'm not surprised that they went out and dominated New England on some level. But it was all about what Rodgers would be, what he'd look like, how he'd move. And I do like, he is the leader of this team, whether you like it or not. I wouldn't want my team.
He's even more than the leader, though, Mark. It's like he is the team, and that's a double-edged sword.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what
I'm
I mean?
not sure
Like,
that's how I'd want my team structured for like a decade plus. This is for a couple of years, and we're fine with that. And it has to work. And tonight is the first real tangible proof that they've got the recipe in place for it to work. To win 10 or 11 games and get into the playoffs. And that's why you went and got Aaron Rodgers. And to go out and dominate. And first of all, like, I would say this. Who cares what week it is in the NFL season? If you're a Jets fan, and if you're your dad, or you're you, or you're anyone that is sentient beyond the age of 6 or 7, New England has been like a Russian government over your life for essentially since you were in high school. And so I don't really care about what week it is. This matters on that level for a Jets fan. The Patriots were frisky. They were running the ball well. They were playing good defense. Had they come in and kept this tight till the end, and Aaron Rodgers was suppressed and played, B- football, we'd be left with questions. We're left with very few questions based off this game. What kind of quarterback he can be physically? He looked really dialed in. He looked accurate, and he is the centerpiece. He is the sun to the entire solar system of this New York Jets organization.
I mean, look at Alan Lazard. He's a perfect example. Lazard, who signed a 4-year, $44 million contract with the team last year because he was Rodgers' boy in Green Bay. Rodgers goes out after 4 plays, and Lazard is a disaster last season, a total non-factor. It just feels like they are stuck with him on the roster now. But now Rodgers is back, and now Lazard has 3 touchdowns in 3 games and is exactly what they were paying him to be, which is second banana to Garrett Wilson, and that will work. Tyler Conklin, also another guy, invisible last year when Rodgers went down. All of a sudden, Tyler Conklin is making plays as a tight end. Like I said, Wilson is not hasn't even locked in yet. But Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are going to turn into a big thing by the end of the season if they both stay healthy. And then the running back setup is nice. Breece Hall still hasn't really clicked in. But with Braylon Allen, who is 20 years old, literally half the age of Rodgers, that's a good combo in the backfield. I was trying to figure out what the Allen comp was. As an old head, it finally clicked. Do you remember Johnny Johnson, former Cardinals running back and Jets running back? The big, almost bigger than you need to be as a running back, but a beast and hard to bring down, but sneaky fast. That's the compliment to Breece Hall. So they really have a nucleus, and they have a quarterback who can make the most of it. Let's take a break here, Mark. We'll come right back, and then we'll talk about the Patriots side of things, and then we'll sign off.
Starbucks Iced Apple Crisp Oat Milk Shaken Espresso. Made with blonde espresso, creamy oat milk, and spiced apple flavors. It's an icy crisp sip you can enjoy all autumn long. Order ahead on the Starbucks app.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. You might say all kinds of stuff when things go wrong, but these are the words you really need to remember. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. They've got options to fit your unique insurance needs, meaning you can talk to your agent to choose the coverage you need, have coverage options to protect the things you value most, file a claim right on the State Farm mobile app, and even reach a real person when you need to talk to someone. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
This episode of Heed the Call is brought to you by BetterHelp. What's something you'd like to learn? Gardening? A new language? I'd love to learn how to play the guitar. You may be surprised to find out that therapy can help you reconnect with your sense of wonder and desire to learn. It's not just for people who have experienced major trauma. Therapy can be helpful for learning positive coping skills, how to set boundaries, and so much more to empower you to become the best version of yourself. Thinking of starting therapy? If so, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time at no additional charge. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/HTC today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/HTC. All right. Listen, I know, everyone's like, down with the Jets, enough. Look at what Mark said. Everything Mark said at the top, double down, right up your butt. Now we're going to talk about the other side, okay?
Well, F me.
All right, Mark, we don't need that.
That was not in live time, but I agree with the sentiment. So,
all right, listen, not a good night for the Patriots. A lot of kind of hope, perhaps hope that wasn't fully realistic. Generated over the first 2 weeks with nearly win one game against Cincinnati and nearly winning week 2. This game they were thoroughly outplayed, overmatched from the opening kickoff. Time of possession mark in this game was 40 to 20 minutes wise. And the deeper you look, the Patriots had 40 yards of offense in the first half. They were outgained by 212 yards in the first 30 minutes. They had 4 first downs in the first half, the fewest a franchise has had in a half since 2000. And Drake May shows up late in this game. It's total garbage time. He makes a couple of plays. And this is the type of game, Mark, where all of a sudden it shifts in my mind about the Patriots now, which is it goes from, could this be a team that, and I'm not totally counting them out, but I think this was a wake-up call in a lot of ways in terms of reality. Is Drake May closer around the bend than we realize?
I think he is, but I think, when you make these decisions, you've got to try to put him into a good position. They go to San Francisco next week, and then they play the Dolphins.
That's a Jake Brisket game all the way. I agree.
Exactly. I think you stick with Jake Brisket because first of all, every coach that's coached him is he's one of the best locker room guys around, and we know what the Patriots are. They kind of just got to survive this season. They're going to get a top 10 pick again. I don't push Drake May. There's not a lot to learn by pushing Drake May into the lineup right now. I think kind of what they're built around is we want to be a reliable running team. You lose Ramondre Stevenson early in this game. He's not in there for the majority of the game, and they are not able to stop New York at all on defense. And so I think it's you're going to get these games, but I would not make a jarring move at quarterback. It just feels like a dangerous way. They could be the team that says, look, there's really no reason to stick our rookie quarterback in there right now and ruin him. We're seeing rookie quarterbacks really suffer across the league. It's there's no reason for them to do that. So I think there's no if anything, you could do it mid-season. They don't have a bye till week 14, but in general, I would wait another month or so before you make that move. I don't know about you. I just don't see. Typically, I'm put these guys in and see what happens. I don't think that with Drake.
Here's what I think it would be the decision internally, because if you think he can handle it, if you think he's ready for it, you might as well put him in and use this as a development year. But I think you only do that if you're confident that the offensive line can protect him. And what we saw tonight makes me think that you're going to want to hold off on that until you feel confident enough that he's not going to get absolutely plastered the way Bryce Young or what we're seeing with Caleb Williams in Chicago is right now. They have the benefit, New England, they are not a contender, of what's the right way to do this? But also, you
Right.
don't want to wait too long because it's as Bill Belichick said famously, or Bill Parcells, I should say, said famously, in some ways, Jake Briskett's a progress stopper. It's like at some point he's got to move out of the way so you could develop this kid. Because look, we could talk about how you want to go slow and take it easy, but for every Jordan Love, there's also the reality of what the NFL is now. And look at Bryce Young, who after 2 games in his second year, we don't know if he's ever going to play for the team that took him number 1 overall. So change happens fast in the NFL, and I wouldn't be stunned if they get hammered in San Francisco if he's on the field at home against the Dolphins in Week 5. That wouldn't stun me either. It'll be very interesting around in terms of what's like the big story around the Patriots. It's how Drake is deployed by this team and who's making the decision, whether it's Mayo or Kraft or Kraft's son, like who's involved with, who ultimately
If it's Kraft's
decides
son,
when
we've
this
got
kid
big
plays.
issues. If Kraft's son's deciding when to put the quarterback in, I mean, although that wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. But
all right. I would imagine Elliot Wolf will have a role in that as well. But I don't know. For some reason, maybe this is just. I just still wonder about the power structure in New England after Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are gone. Anyway, any other thoughts on the Patriots side of things, Mark? And that the other thing is, like I said, the Jets don't blitz a lot. The Jets blitzed on 33.3% of Brissett's dropbacks today. So that was a tendency that they obviously said, we don't think the Pats are ready to handle bringing the house at this veteran quarterback, and it absolutely proved to be true. So shout out to Saleh and Ulbrich, and other teams are going to continue to go after that. So it makes sense too, right? If you think you could overwhelm that offensive line, they don't have guys, unless you want to target Hunter Henry 24 times a game. Like, they don't have guys that are going to be able to spring open unless you could really be a genius schemer. And I don't know if that's what the Pats have on their staff right now.
no, I think it was 14 first downs to 1 first down at one point. And when that happens in the NFL, you know that you've got fundamental issues on one side of the ball. And like the Jets, to me, tonight, they're kind of like if you were dating a girl in your younger days and she went into a coma, and you kind of like started to move on from the concept of what they could be, but then she wakes up from the coma and she's kind of fun. You remember that she's fun, and she remembers you. First of all, like a lot of times
Is it one of those situations where the person wakes up from the coma and they're a different person, or is
they don't
who she was before the?
Well, I think if I went into a
traumatic
coma,
injury.
if I went into a coma, like if I woke up, I could be like, I could choose to pretend I don't remember certain people, to kind of reset the board and have them out of my life. But like in this case, the girl remembers you, and she's fun, and she's still funny. It's like. That's the Jets to me. Like what we thought they were a year ago. They've been in a coma for a year. They wake up. The Patriots are the victim this evening of that entire scenario, and it's a great thing. You've got your girlfriend back. She's lively. She's out of the hospital, and she's back holding your hand, and you can buy her flowers and take her out for ice cream. That's you and the Jets.
A little bit further. I mean, if we're going to talk comas and like Jets fans waiting for the girl to wake up and be pretty and fun again, it would be probably closer to the 1990 Steven Seagal film Hard to Kill, where the coma went 8 years. But in this case, it's 13 years. And here's the thing,
8 years,
though.
You're in your 50s. Like, we've got to get the coma out of the way for you specifically, and your dad, by the way. Come on.
But here's the thing,
Yeah.
Mark. Mason Storm woke up from that coma after 8 years. Mm-hmm. Started doing his jiu-jitsu training.
Yep.
By the end of the movie, he'd killed 700 bad guys and gotten revenge.
We're back.
Are the Jets entering their Mason Storm era after 13 years in a coma? We're going to find out. And there's a huge there's a highway in front of Jets fans right now, and it could go anywhere. And it's been a long time since it felt like that highway could be going somewhere exciting and fun. And I'm not even talking about the Super Bowl, although I did pick them to win the Super Bowl. I'm just saying a fun 3 or 4 months. There could be downs, there could be ups in this highway, but just where something, like you get something out of this. It's not supposed to be all shit. It's supposed to be a combination of the fun stuff, and then you eat a little shit. And eating a little shit's not the worst thing, because that makes the fun stuff more enjoyable.
We all like doing that sometimes. Yeah.
When you only get fed shit, and it goes on for as long as you can remember. It takes me back into my 20s. I've been eating this shit. It's so nice to feel like, all right, let's shovel this out to somebody else. Hey, you Patriot fan? Here, take some of this. How does it taste?
This went to an odd place, but I enjoy where it went. I think that's,
Listen,
delicacies.
It's a strange time. Last thought, my eldest son, Jack, came up to me on the couch at the end of the game, and he said, "Hey, Dad, can I wear my Aaron Rodgers jersey to school tomorrow?"
Yes, you can, and go kick people's ass. Like, just walk through. What grade is he in?
He is in 4th grade.
You just walk through the 4th grade classrooms just like kicking and punching and just being like, I'm here now.
I don't want him to do that, Mark. I want him to be, civil and respectable. But that was a jersey he got a couple months before last season kicked off, and that has sit in the closet for that entire time. That's meaningful. Like, Jets fans can be proud when they get up tomorrow, and the kids can be proud to go into their schools and wear jet green, and idiots like me can bloviate on a podcast about like how there's a fucking wide open highway, because this is new and exciting, and this is what sports is all about. Hope, because hope is a good thing, maybe the best thing. All right, here we go.
I am doing excellent. It is still the same night. We are still reporting and doing a show.
Wait.
I did not say that. I mean, not now.
Tomorrow morning, when everybody wakes up, if you are a member of the patreon.com/heedthecall, you will have the draft of week 3 waiting for you with Dan, Mark, Justin, Connor. We had a lot of fun doing it. That's not even the only new content over on the Patreon. You also have a new episode of the Throwback Podcast where Bob and I dug into the 2009 VMAs, which were fucking wild, and a great time capsule. Yes, that's the Kanye Taylor VMAs, but all sorts of stuff cooking. That's like at the end of the MTV's real run as the zeitgeist defining generation of or generator of youth content, driving youth content. Just a very interesting era. So check that out if that's something that is even remotely interesting to you. And then anything else, Justin?
Nope, Dan, I think you got it all.
Beautiful. Thank you to everybody for listening. And we will be back, of course, the next time you hear from us on Heed the Call will be the flagship program where we break down every game that we previewed earlier today with Jordan and Money Mike Dugar. Until then, do what you must. Heed the call.